In the heart of a quiet countryside, surrounded by rolling hills and sparkling rivers, stood a small village named Everbrook. The people of Everbrook lived simple lives, farming their land, raising their children, and telling stories around their fires each night. But among all the tales they shared, one story stood above the rest: the legend of the Enchanted Forest. The Enchanted Forest, as the villagers whispered, was a place of wonder and mystery. Its tall trees reached so high they seemed to brush the sky, and its air shimmered with magic. Some said golden fireflies lit the paths at night, guiding the brave. Others claimed that creatures of legend, talking animals, fairies, and even dragons, called the forest their home. But most importantly, the villagers believed the forest held a secret, a treasure hidden long ago, waiting for the right person to discover it. Few dared to enter. Those who did often returned with strange stories, or never returned at all. Our story begins with Lily, a curious young girl of 15. Unlike the other villagers, Lily wasn't satisfied with hearing stories. She wanted to live them. With her curious mind and adventurous spirit, she often found herself wandering the fields, staring at the forest from afar, wondering what lay beyond its borders. One crisp morning, with the sun painting the sky in shades of gold, Lily stood at the very edge of the Enchanted Forest. Her heart raced. Her fingers trembled slightly, but her eyes sparkled with determination. Today was the day. She would step inside. She tightened the strap of her satchel, inside of which she carried a small notebook, a pencil, and a piece of bread her mother had baked that morning. Not much for a grand adventure, but Lily believed courage was worth more than supplies. She took a deep breath. The forest loomed before her, dark and mysterious, yet inviting. The wind whispered through the leaves, as if the trees themselves were calling her name. "Lily! Lily!" She smiled nervously. Was it real or just her imagination? Turning slightly, Lily looked as though she were speaking directly to you, the listener. "Will you come with me?" she asked softly. "Adventures are better when shared. Together we can discover the secret of the Enchanted Forest." Her words hung in the air like an invitation. Before stepping forward, Lily glanced back at the village. She could almost hear her mother's voice. "Be careful, Lily. The forest is no place for children." But Lily wasn't a child anymore. Or at least she wanted to prove she wasn't. She wanted to show everyone that courage, not age, made a true adventurer. And with that thought, she took her first step into the shadows of the Enchanted Forest. The air grew cooler. The sunlight dimmed, filtered through the thick canopy above. The forest was alive with sound, the chirping of unseen birds, the rustle of small animals in the underbrush, and the distant murmur of a stream. Every sound made her heart beat faster. Lily walked slowly, her eyes wide, taking in every detail. The bark of the trees was darker than she had ever seen, their roots twisting like ancient guardians. Strange flowers glowed faintly along the path, their petals shimmering as though dusted with starlight. "This place, it's even more magical than I imagined," Lily whispered. For a moment, she forgot her fear. Every step pulled her deeper into wonder, and for the first time in her life, she felt like she belonged to something greater than herself. But then, a sudden snap echoed from the bushes. Lily froze. Her breath caught in her throat. Slowly, she turned toward the sound. From the shadows, two glowing eyes stared back at her. Her heart pounded. Was it a wolf? A monster? Or something else entirely? Lily swallowed hard, gripping her satchel as though it might shield her. "Hello," she called softly. The bushes rustled again. Out stepped. Lily's breath caught in her throat as the creature stepped out from the underbrush. To her surprise, it wasn't a wolf or a monster at all. It was a fox, but not an ordinary fox. Its fur shimmered like embers in a fading fire, glowing faintly in the dim forest light. Its eyes, bright, golden, and full of intelligence, seemed to study her with curiosity, as though it knew her already. The fox tilted its head and sat down gracefully on its haunches, tail curling around its paws. It did not growl. It did not run. It simply watched. Lily exhaled slowly, the tension in her shoulders easing just a little. "Oh, you're beautiful," she whispered. The fox blinked once, then opened its mouth and spoke. Yes, it said in a calm, clear voice. But beauty is not what matters here. Lily staggered backward in shock, her eyes wide. You can talk? The fox gave what could almost be described as a sly smile. Of course, words are as natural as breathing in this forest. But the real question is, can you listen? Lily's mind spun. She had heard the stories of talking animals, but she never thought they were true. She glanced behind her, half expecting someone to leap out and reveal it was all a trick. But no, it was just her, the fox, and the whispering forest. Gathering her courage, she said, "If you mean listening with my ears, then yes. If you mean listening with my heart, well, I can try." The fox's golden eyes glimmered with approval. That's a wise answer for one so young. Many who enter this forest come only to take, to conquer, or to prove their strength. But this place does not reveal its secrets to the greedy or the proud. Only those with a listening heart may find what they seek. Lily's curiosity flared. And what about me? Why do you think I'm here? The fox stood, pacing in a slow circle around her. That is the mystery, isn't it? Even you may not know yet, but I sense something in you, a hunger for discovery. That hunger could be dangerous, or it could be the key to uncovering the forest's greatest secret. Lily's fingers tightened on her satchel. I want to know the truth about the stories, the magic, the treasure, all of it. The fox stopped in front of her, its gaze piercing. Then you must prove yourself. How? She asked, her voice steadier now. The fox flicked its tail toward a narrow path that twisted deeper into the trees. The forest will test you, with challenges, riddles, and choices. You may find friends, you may face enemies. But above all, you must remember, not everything is as it seems. Before Lily could respond, the fox bounded gracefully ahead, stopping just a few steps down the glowing path. Well, it called over its shoulder. Are you coming, or will you turn back like so many before you? Lily hesitated only for a heartbeat. Turning back meant safety. It meant home. But it also meant regret. She had come this far, and her spirit burned brighter than her fear. She squared her shoulders and stepped forward. I'm coming. The fox's grin widened. Good. Then your journey begins. The path wound deeper into the forest, where the trees grew taller and the light dimmer. Strange symbols appeared carved into the trunks, glowing faintly like ancient runes. The air smelled of moss and wildflowers, both comforting and mysterious. As they walked, Lily asked, "What should I call you?" The fox paused, considering. Names have power here, but since you ask, you may call me Ember. Ember? Lily repeated, testing the name on her tongue. It suited the glowing creature perfectly. Ember gave a pleased nod. Now, Lily, listen carefully. Ahead lies the first test. It is not of strength, but of trust. Many fail before they even begin. A faint sound reached Lily's ears. At first, it was only a murmur, like distant voices carried on the wind. But as they drew closer, the sound grew clearer, children laughing, calling her name. Lily, Lily, come play! She froze. The voices were familiar. They sounded like her friends from the village. She could almost see them in her mind's eye, waving at her from behind the trees. Her heart ached. Could it be them? Had they followed her? But Ember's tone was sharp. Be careful. The forest is full of illusions. What you hear may not be real. Lily bit her lip. The laughter grew louder, pulling at her, making her want to run toward it. What if it is real? She asked desperately. Then you must choose, Ember said firmly. Follow the voices, or stay on the path. This is your first test. Lily's pulse quickened. The forest seemed to hold its breath, waiting for her choice. What do you think Lily should do? Should she follow the voices or stay with Ember on the path? Comment below with your choice and subscribe so you can see what happens next. Lily's heart pounded as the laughter echoed through the trees. The sound was so familiar, so warm that it stirred a longing deep within her. She could almost picture her friends from Everbrook, their smiling faces, their playful voices. Lily, over here! Don't be afraid! Her feet itched to move, to run toward the sound. But Ember blocked the way, his golden eyes sharp and unyielding. Remember what I told you. This forest bends itself to your mind and your heart. It shows you what you want to see, and sometimes what you fear. The voices may not be real. Lily hesitated. She clenched her fists at her side, fighting the pull of the laughter. But what if they are real? What if my friends followed me and they're lost? Ember's tail flicked. And what if they are not? If you leave the path now, you may wander forever, chasing shadows. The laughter grew louder, clearer. This time it wasn't only her friends she heard. She swore she heard her mother's voice calling gently, "Lily, come home. Please, it's dangerous here. Come back to me." Her throat tightened. She could almost feel her mother's arms around her, warm and safe. She stepped forward, just one step, her heart tearing between love and curiosity. Ember growled softly. "This is the forest's first test. It preys upon your heart. You must decide, Lily. Do you follow the voices, or do you trust me?" Lily looked down at her trembling hands. If she turned back, she might never learn the secret of the forest. But if she ignored the voices, and they truly were her family and friends, what kind of person would that make her? She took a shaky breath and whispered, "I want to trust you, Ember. But how do I know?" The fox stepped closer, his eyes glowing warmly now instead of sharply. "You don't. That is what trust means." For a long, painful moment, Lily stood frozen between the path and the voices. Then, slowly, she closed her eyes. She pressed a hand to her chest and listened, not with her ears, but with her heart. The laughter was sweet, tempting, but something about it was hollow, like an echo with no source. Her mother's voice was tender, but it lacked the warmth she knew so well. It was almost right, but not quite. Her eyes flew open. "They're not real," she whispered. And with those words, the voices stopped. Just like that. The forest grew silent again. The laughter faded as though it had never been there at all. The air was lighter, brighter, as if the trees themselves approved of her choice. Ember gave a small, approving nod. "Well done. You saw through the illusion. Many do not. They follow false voices until the forest swallows them whole." Lily shivered, both from fear and relief. It felt so real. "That is the power of this place," Ember said gently. "It tests your heart, your courage, and your choices. Remember this lesson, Lily. Not everything that feels real can be trusted." They continued walking down the path. The forest seemed to shift around them, the trees parting slightly as though rewarding her for passing the first test. Shafts of golden light broke through the canopy, illuminating patches of glowing flowers. Lily let out a slow breath. If that was just the first test, I can't imagine what's next. Ember chuckled, a low rumbling sound. Neither can I. The forest chooses the tests. But you are still here, and that means you are worthy to continue. As they walked, the path curved toward a bubbling stream. The water sparkled, reflecting rainbow colors in the dim light. Lily knelt and cupped her hands, drinking eagerly. The water was cold and refreshing, washing away some of her fear. But as she stood, she noticed something strange. Across the stream was an enormous stone archway, half buried in vines. Ancient carvings covered its surface, swirls, runes, and symbols Lily didn't recognize. At the very center was the image of a tree, its roots and branches entwined in a circle. "What is that?" she asked in awe. Ember's eyes gleamed. "Ah, the first gateway." "Gateway?" The fox padded closer, gazing at the archway. "The enchanted forest is full of them. They are doors, not of wood and metal, but of magic. Each one leads deeper into the heart of the forest, but they will not open unless you prove yourself worthy." Lily's excitement surged. "Then this is where we go next?" Ember nodded. "Yes, but the gateways each carry their own riddle, their own challenge. You passed the forest's test of trust. Now you must face the gateway's test of wisdom." Lily stepped closer to the archway. As she did, the carvings began to glow faintly, and the stone tree at the center shimmered as if alive. A soft, ancient voice echoed in her mind. To move forward, seeker, you must answer. I am not alive, yet I grow. I do not breathe, yet I need air. I do not drink, yet water gives me strength. What am I? Lily's eyes widened. It was a riddle. She glanced at Ember, but the fox only sat calmly, watching her with a knowing smile. This is your test, not mine. The forest wants your answer. Lily bit her lip, thinking hard. The words rolled over and over in her mind. Not alive, yet grows. Doesn't breathe, but needs air. Doesn't drink, but needs water. Her heart raced. She had to get this right.
Lily stood before the ancient archway, her mind racing. The riddle repeated itself in her head, each line pressing like a weight on her thoughts. I am not alive, yet I grow. I do not breathe, yet I need air. I do not drink, yet water gives me strength. What am I? Her pulse quickened. She thought of plants first, trees, flowers, but no, they were alive. That couldn't be it. She thought of animals, of the glowing fox by her side, but they too lived and breathed. She closed her eyes and pictured the forest itself. The way the roots spread, the way moss covered stones, the way fire crackled in the hearth at home. Fire. Her eyes flew open. Fire grew but wasn't alive. Fire needed air to survive, and though it didn't drink, it devoured anything dry. Water could put it out. Her lips curved into a determined smile. The answer is fire. The moment she spoke, the carvings on the archway blazed with light. The tree at its center shimmered, then burst into golden flames that danced harmlessly along the stone. The fire spread across the entire gateway, illuminating the runes until the arch glowed like a beacon in the dark forest. With a deep rumble, the gateway trembled and slowly opened. Beyond it, Lily could see a path bathed in silver light, winding deeper into the unknown. Ember nodded approvingly. You solved it. Few do on their first try. Lily grinned despite her nerves. It was tricky, but somehow it made sense. That is the forest's way, Ember replied, his voice low and thoughtful. It teaches by challenging. It rewards those who look beyond the obvious. Together they stepped through the gateway. On the other side, the forest looked different. The trees were taller, their trunks shimmering faintly as though etched with starlight. Strange plants glowed along the path, their petals unfolding as Lily passed, as if greeting her. The air felt thicker with magic, alive with a hum she could almost hear.
But what caught her attention most was the silence. It wasn't the peaceful kind, it was heavy, as if the forest itself was holding its breath. Why is it so quiet? Lily whispered. Ember's ears twitched. Because we are not alone. A chill ran down Lily's spine. She glanced around nervously but saw only shadows stretching between the glowing trees. They continued cautiously until the path widened into a clearing. At its center stood a massive stone pedestal, and upon it lay a small, intricately carved wooden box. The box shimmered faintly as though touched by moonlight. Lily's curiosity flared. What's inside? Ember's tone grew serious. Be careful. Not everything that glitters is treasure. Some boxes are meant to be opened. Others are traps. Lily stepped closer. The box was beautiful, its surface carved with patterns of vines and leaves. A small lock held it shut, though no key was in sight. As she reached toward it, a voice echoed through the clearing, deep, booming, and full of menace. Who dares disturb the keeper's treasure? The ground shook. From the shadows at the far side of the clearing, a massive figure emerged. At first, Lily thought it was a man, but as it stepped into the light, her breath caught. It was a giant made of stone. Its body was rough and jagged, its eyes glowing like molten lava. Moss and vines clung to its shoulders, making it look like part of the forest itself. With each heavy step, the earth trembled. Lily stumbled back, her heart racing. What is that? Ember's fur bristled, though his voice remained calm. "The guardian of the second gate, you have passed the test of wisdom, but now comes the test of courage." The guardian's voice thundered again. "The box belongs to the forest. To claim it, you must prove your worth. Face me, or turn back forever." Lily's mouth went dry. How could she, a 15-year-old girl with nothing but a satchel, face a creature of living stone? Her legs trembled, but deep inside, something steadied her, a spark of determination. She had come this far. She would not run now. She drew in a deep breath and lifted her chin. "I'll face you." The guardian's molten eyes burned brighter. It raised a massive stone hand and slammed it against the ground, sending a shockwave rippling through the clearing. The test had begun. The ground shook as the guardian of stone towered over Lily, its molten eyes blazing like fire trapped in rock. With every step, its heavy body cracked the earth, sending tremors through the clearing. Lily's knees wobbled. She had never faced anything like this before. How could she, a small girl with only a notebook and a piece of bread in her bag, stand against a creature born of stone and fire? Her first instinct was to run, but then she heard Ember's voice, calm and steady. "Remember, Lily, the forest does not test your strength. It tests your heart and your mind. Use what you have. Think." Lily swallowed hard. "Think, Lily, think." The guardian roared, raising its enormous arm. With a deafening crash, it slammed its fist into the ground where Lily had just been standing. She darted aside, her heart hammering as dirt and stones flew into the air. "Face me!" the guardian thundered. "Prove your worth!" Lily scrambled behind a tree, gasping for breath. She couldn't fight it. She would be crushed in an instant. But maybe she didn't have to. She peered out and studied the giant more closely. Its body was rough and cracked in places. Moss and vines clung to it, and small trickles of glowing lava dripped between its stones. It was strong, yes, but also heavy, slow, and not unbreakable. There has to be a weakness. The guardian swung again, this time tearing up a chunk of earth as it missed her. Lily stumbled but kept her footing, her mind racing. She couldn't match its strength. She had to outsmart it. Her eyes darted to the stream nearby, the same stream that had led them here. Its water sparkled faintly under the moonlight, and then like lightning the answer struck her. "Fire," she whispered. "It burns, but water defeats it." Her gaze snapped back to the glowing cracks in the guardian's body. Fire burned inside it. If she could use the water, she turned to Ember, who stood calmly at the edge of the clearing. "The stream. If I can lead it to the water?" Ember's golden eyes gleamed. "Now you're thinking." Lily gathered her courage and stepped boldly into the open. "Hey, Rockhead," she shouted. "You're not so scary, you can't even catch me." The guardian roared in fury. "Insolent child!" It lumbered forward, swinging its heavy arms. Lily darted toward the stream, her smaller body weaving easily between the giant's slow, crushing blows. The ground shook with each strike, but she kept running, heart pounding, lungs burning. She reached the edge of the stream and skidded to a stop. The guardian was right behind her, raising both arms for a massive strike. At the last moment, Lily leapt aside. "Now!" she cried. With a deafening crash, the guardian slammed its fists into the ground, right into the stream. Water exploded upward, splashing across its rocky body. Steam hissed from the cracks, and the glowing fire in its chest flickered. The guardian staggered back, its molten eyes dimming slightly. "What is this?" Lily seized her chance. She grabbed a large, water-soaked branch that had broken free and hurled it at the guardian's chest. The wood shattered, but the splash of water struck true. Steam poured out as the inner fire sputtered again. The guardian roared in pain, thrashing wildly. "Clever child, you used the forest against me." "Yes," Lily shouted, her voice fierce despite her fear. "Strength isn't everything. Sometimes brains beat brawn." She darted back and forth, leading the creature closer to the deepest part of the stream. Each time it swung, it splashed more water onto itself. Its fire grew weaker, its movements slower. Finally, with a last desperate cry, the guardian collapsed to one knee, steam pouring from its body. Then, silence. The glowing cracks in its stone faded, its molten eyes dimmed to embers. Slowly, the guardian bowed its massive head. "You have proven your courage," it rumbled, its voice now softer, almost respectful. "Not through force, Saf, but through wisdom and bravery. The forest recognizes your worth." With a deep groan, the guardian reached toward the pedestal. Its enormous hand gently touched the carved box, and the lock clicked open. The lid creaked back, revealing a small crystal that shimmered like captured starlight. Lily stepped forward cautiously. The crystal pulsed with soft light, filling her with warmth and calm. She reached out and lifted it gently from the box. The guardian's voice rumbled once more. "The first key. Guard it well, for only with all three shall the forest's greatest secret be revealed." Before Lily could ask what it meant, the guardian's body crumbled slowly into stone until nothing remained but a mossy boulder. The clearing was still again, as though the battle had never happened. Lily clutched the crystal to her chest, her heart racing. "The first key, 3 in total." She looked at Ember. "What does it mean?" Ember's golden eyes shone with mystery. "It means our journey is far from over. Lily has found the first key, but what are the other 2? And what secret do they unlock? Share your theories in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe so you'll be the first to know what happens next." The clearing was quiet now, the air cool and calm after the chaos of the Guardian's challenge. Lily sat on a smooth stone, the crystal glowing gently in her hands. Its light was soft, steady, and soothing, like holding a piece of the night sky. Her heart still raced from the fight, but slowly the fear gave way to awe. She had done it. She had faced a creature of living stone and fire, and won. Not by fighting harder, but by thinking smarter. "I can't believe it," she whispered. Ember padded closer, his golden fur glowing faintly in the crystal's light. "Believe it. You are stronger than you know. The forest has tested you, and you passed." Lily looked at him, her eyes wide. "But what is this crystal? And what did the Guardian mean about 3 keys? Ember's tail flicked thoughtfully. "The Enchanted Forest holds many secrets. At its heart lies something powerful, something hidden long ago. Only the worthy may uncover it. To reach it, one must gather the 3 keys. You now hold the first." Lily's fingers curled tightly around the crystal. Its warmth spread through her, giving her courage. "Then I'll find the other 2, whatever it takes." The fox studied her for a long moment before giving a small, sly smile. "Good. Determination is a fire that keeps you moving. But remember, Lily, fire can light the way or burn all it touches." His words lingered in her mind as they left the clearing and followed the silver-lit path deeper into the forest. The scenery shifted as they walked. The trees here were unlike any Lily had ever seen. Their trunks were pale, almost silver, and their leaves shimmered with colors that changed as the wind stirred. Green, gold, blue, and violet. Strange lights flickered among the branches like stars caught in the canopy. Lily slowed, her eyes wide with wonder. "It's so beautiful." Ember nodded. "This is the Whispering Grove. Few mortals have seen it." As they walked further, Lily noticed something peculiar. The air wasn't silent, it was full of voices. Not loud or clear, but soft murmurs, like distant conversations she couldn't quite understand. The voices seemed to come from the trees themselves, carried on the rustling leaves. She shivered. "Do you hear that? What are they saying?" Ember's golden eyes gleamed. "The forest remembers everything. These are the whispers of the past, fragments of old stories, lost hopes, and ancient secrets." Lily tilted her head, straining to listen. A few words broke through the murmurs. "Beware. Trust carefully. The 3rd key." Her pulse quickened. "They're talking about the keys." "Perhaps," Ember said calmly. "Or perhaps they echo something older still. The forest speaks in riddles. You must learn to hear what matters, and ignore the rest." They continued until they reached a small glade bathed in moonlight. At its center stood an enormous tree unlike any other. Its trunk was wide enough that a dozen people could not wrap their arms around it, and its branches stretched higher than the eye could follow. The bark shimmered faintly, and its leaves glowed silver as though made of starlight. Lily stepped closer in awe. "It's alive." Ember's tone was reverent. "This is the heartwood. It has stood for thousands of years. Some say it is the oldest tree in the Enchanted Forest. To many, it is sacred." Lily reached out, hesitating, then gently laid her hand against the bark. The tree felt warm, pulsing faintly like a heartbeat. As she touched it, the whispers around her grew louder, clearer. She heard laughter, tears, the clash of battles long forgotten. And then, soft words spoken directly into her mind. "Seeker, your journey has only begun. You hold one key, but the path ahead is dark. Trust wisely, or all will be lost." Lily gasped and stepped back. "Did you hear that?" Ember tilted his head. "The heartwood speaks only to those it chooses." "What did it say?" She hesitated, then repeated the words. Ember's expression grew serious. "Then the tree has given you a warning. You must heed it." Lily frowned. "Trust wisely? Does that mean I shouldn't trust you?" The fox's golden eyes gleamed with something unreadable. "That is for you to decide." The weight of his words pressed heavily on her. She wanted to trust Ember. He had guided her, protected her, but the forest itself had told her to be careful. Confusion swirled in her chest. Who could she truly trust? As the question lingered, a sudden sound shattered the quiet. Branches snapped in the distance, leaves rustled violently. Something, or someone, was moving through the forest toward them. Lily's breath caught. What was that? Ember lowered himself, ears flat, eyes glowing. "Not all who wander here are friends. Stay close." The whispers around them grew louder, urgent, almost fearful. The heartwood's silver leaves trembled, casting shifting shadows across the glade. From the darkness beyond the trees, a tall figure emerged. Cloaked in black, its face hidden beneath a hood, the stranger moved with eerie grace. A staff of twisted wood gleamed faintly in its hand. Lily's pulse thundered. She took a step back. Who is that?" Ember's fur bristled. "An intruder, or perhaps another test." The figure stopped at the edge of the glade, silent and still. Then, in a low, echoing voice, it spoke. "Child of Everbrook, keeper of the first key, the forest watches you, and so do I." The glade was still, save for the faint rustle of the heartwood's glowing leaves. The stranger stood motionless at its edge, cloaked in black, staff glinting faintly in the moonlight. Lily gripped the crystal tighter in her hands, its glow casting trembling patterns across her face. Her voice came out small but steady. "Who are you?" The hooded figure tilted its head, the shadows hiding its features. "Names are unimportant. What matters is the path you walk, and the choices you make upon it." Ember stepped forward, fur bristling, teeth bared in a low growl. "Speak plainly, Shadow. You trespass in sacred ground." A low chuckle escaped the figure. "And yet, here I stand, unchallenged by the heartwood. Perhaps the forest permits me for a reason, Golden One." Lily's heart pounded. Whoever this stranger was, they spoke with confidence, as though the forest itself had allowed their presence. That thought chilled her. "Why are you here?" she asked. The figure raised their staff slightly, and the silver light of the heartwood seemed to bend toward it as if drawn. To watch, to guide, to test. The Guardian of Stone was but your first step. 2 more keys remain and many dangers between. Fail, and the forest will claim you as it has claimed countless others. Lily swallowed hard. "So you know about the keys." The hood dipped in a slow nod. "I know much. More than your companion has told you." Her eyes flicked to Ember, whose fur bristled more fiercely. "Lies," he growled. "Do not listen, Lily." But doubt prickled in her chest. The heartwood had warned her, trust wisely. What if this stranger spoke the truth? What if Ember was hiding something? The figure stepped closer, and Lily instinctively backed away. The whispers of the forest swelled, as though hundreds of unseen voices leaned in to listen. "You seek answers," the stranger said softly. "But answers come with a price. Are you willing to pay it?" Lily's grip tightened on the crystal. "What kind of price?" The hooded figure lowered their staff. For the first time, their voice softened, almost gentle. "Trust. You must choose whom to believe, the fox at your side, or me." Ember snarled, his golden eyes blazing. "Do not be fooled. The forest is full of deceivers." Lily's breath came quick and shallow. Her gaze darted between Ember and the cloaked figure. Both seemed certain, both demanded trust, but only one could be right. "How can I know?" she thought desperately. The glade felt colder after the stranger's departure. The silver glow of the heartwood no longer seemed comforting but eerie, casting long shadows that twisted across the ground. Lily hugged the crystal to her chest, her thoughts swirling like leaves in a storm. The forest whispered around her, restless and uneasy. She could almost hear it asking the same question she asked herself. Who can I trust? Ember finally broke the silence. We must move. The forest does not wait for indecision. Lily looked at him, torn. His golden eyes glowed fiercely, steady and certain. Yet the stranger's words echoed in her mind. The forest is not your only enemy. Where are we going? She asked softly. The next trial, Ember replied. It lies where light cannot reach. The place mortals call the Hollow of Shadows. Lily's stomach tightened. Shadows. The very word filled her with dread. But she nodded, slipping the crystal safely into her bag. They traveled deeper into the forest, the path narrowing as trees grew taller, their branches knitting together to block out the moonlight. The silver glow faded behind them until the world ahead was swallowed in darkness. Lily clutched Ember's fur for comfort as they pressed on. Every sound was magnified. The snap of a twig, the rustle of unseen creatures, the slow drip of water echoing through the silence. At last, they reached a cavern hidden beneath a twisted oak. The entrance yawned like the open mouth of some ancient beast. Cold air spilled out, smelling faintly of damp earth and stone. This is it, Ember said quietly. The Hollow of Shadows. Lily's pulse quickened. She took a deep breath. What do I have to do? The shadows will test you, Ember said. They take the shape of your fears. You must face them, or they will consume you. Lily's throat went dry. My fears. Ember gave a solemn nod. Courage is not the absence of fear, Lily. It is the strength to face it. Gathering her resolve, Lily stepped into the cavern. Darkness swallowed her instantly. The air was cold and heavy, pressing against her skin. She reached out, but her hand vanished into the blackness. Even Ember's glow faded until she could no longer see him. Ember? She whispered. No answer. Her breath quickened. She was alone. Then the whispers began. At first they were faint, like the rustling of leaves, but slowly they grew clearer, voices she recognized. You'll fail, one hissed. You're just a little girl. The forest will eat you alive. Another voice, sharper, crueler. You don't belong here. Go home before it's too late. Lily covered her ears, but the voices grew louder, echoing all around her. They weren't just whispers anymore. They were shouts, jeers, laughter. Then the shadows moved. Shapes formed in the darkness, twisted figures with glowing eyes reaching out with claw-like hands. Lily stumbled back, her chest tight with panic. It's not real, she told herself desperately. It's just shadows, just shadows. But the fear felt real, too real. A figure stepped forward from the darkness. Lily's heart stopped. It was her father. He looked at her with disappointment in his eyes. Why did you come here, Lily? You'll only bring trouble to yourself. And to me? Tears stung her eyes. You're not real. You're just a shadow. But his voice cut deep. You'll never be enough. Not here. Not anywhere. Her chest ached. She wanted to curl up, to give in, to let the shadows swallow her whole. Then she felt a faint warmth in her bag. The crystal. She pulled it out, and its glow pierced the darkness, faint but steady. Holding it tight, she took a shaky breath. "You're not my father believes in me. You're just my fear pretending to be him." The shadow flinched, its form flickering. Lily lifted the crystal higher, her voice stronger. "You're not real. None of you are real. You can't stop me." The shadows shrieked and recoiled, writhing like smoke in the wind. One by one, they crumbled into nothing, until only silence remained. Lily stood trembling, the crystal glowing brightly in her hands. Slowly, the darkness lifted, revealing the cavern walls and the narrow path ahead. A familiar voice called gently, "Lily." She turned to see Ember waiting at the far end of the cavern, golden eyes warm once more. Relief flooded her chest and she ran to him, nearly collapsing against his side. "You faced them," he said softly. "Your fears. And you won." Lily held the crystal close. It still glowed, but now its light was stronger, brighter, changed by her courage. She gave a shaky smile. "Maybe I am braver than I thought." Ember's tail flicked. Bravery and doubt walk hand in hand. But tonight, you chose courage. As they left the hollow of shadows, the forest around them seemed to shift once more. The path ahead glimmered faintly, leading deeper into the unknown. But in Lily's heart, one question still lingered, louder now than ever. If the shadows were her fears, why had one of them spoken with the voice of her father? The air outside the hollow of shadows was fresh, but Lily still felt the cold weight of fear clinging to her. She walked in silence, the crystal glowing faintly in her hand. Ember padded beside her, quiet for once. His golden eyes watched her carefully, as though he knew the battle wasn't over, not against the shadows, but inside her heart. At last, Lily broke the silence. "Why did one of the shadows look like my father?" Ember's ears twitched. "The shadows take the shape of what you fear most. Perhaps you fear his disappointment." Her chest tightened. "He always wanted me to stay close to home, to be safe. He said the forest was dangerous." "And yet, here you are," Ember said softly. "Sometimes, fear is born from love." Lily looked down at the crystal, its light steady and warm. "I hope he would be proud of me." "You faced your fear," Ember said. "That is something to be proud of." His words gave her a small comfort, though the doubt in her heart remained. The forest path soon changed. The trees grew taller, their branches arching like a grand cathedral. Shafts of light broke through the canopy, illuminating patches of moss and wildflowers that glowed faintly with their own light. Lily stopped in awe. It feels alive, like it's waiting for something. Ember's gaze swept the forest. It is. The trial of the second key lies ahead. They followed the glowing path until they reached a clearing where a small lake shimmered like glass. Its surface reflected the sky perfectly, even though the canopy should have hidden it. Stars glimmered on the water, though it was not yet night. Lily's breath caught. "It's beautiful." Ember's tone was reverent. "This is the Mirror Lake. The second key lies within. But beware, what you see here may not be what it seems." Lily approached the lake's edge. The water was so clear she could see her reflection perfectly, but as she gazed deeper, her reflection began to change. The face in the water was hers, but older, stronger, dressed in shining armor. The reflection smiled confidently. "You will succeed," it said in her own voice. "You are destined for greatness." Lily blinked in shock. "Did you hear that?" Ember's eyes narrowed. "The lake reveals visions, some true, some lies." Before she could respond, the reflection shifted again. Now it showed her lying in the forest, alone and broken, her crystal shattered. "You will fail," the reflection whispered. "The forest will consume you." Lily stumbled back, her heart racing. No, that can't be real. The lake rippled, and the reflections dissolved into darkness. Slowly, from the center of the water, a pedestal rose, carrying a crystal brighter than the first. Its light shimmered like moonlight.
The second key, Ember murmured. Lily stepped forward, but the water rippled again. From its surface rose a figure, her exact reflection, but alive. The twins stood on the lake as if it were solid ground, holding a crystal identical to the one on the pedestal. Lily froze. "That's me." The reflection smiled, but it wasn't warm. It was sharp, sly. "Yes, I am you, the better you, the one without fear, without weakness. The forest knows which of us deserves the key." The twin lifted its crystal high and the lake glowed with harsh light. Ember growled, "This is the trial. To claim the key, you must face yourself."
Lily's heart thundered. She had faced shadows of fear, but this was different. This was herself, stronger, colder. Without doubt, the reflection sneered. "You hesitate, always afraid, always questioning. You don't deserve the keys. Hand them over." "No!" Lily shouted, clutching her crystal. "I may be afraid, but that doesn't make me weak." The reflection lunged, its crystal blazing. Lily raised her own, the light clashing in a burst of energy that rippled across the lake. Water sprayed, waves crashing as the two lilies struggled. Each movement mirrored, each strike equal. It was like fighting her own heart. But then Lily remembered Ember's words. "Courage is not the absence of fear. It is the strength to face it." She stepped back, lowering her crystal. "I don't need to defeat you," she said firmly, "because you are me. My fear, my doubt, my strength, my hope, and I accept all of it." The reflection froze. Its sharp smile faded. Slowly, its form began to dissolve into shimmering light. The crystal on the pedestal glowed brighter, rising gently into the air before floating toward Lily. She reached out and caught it, its warmth flooding into her chest. The reflection vanished completely, leaving the lake calm once more. Ember padded to her side, eyes glowing with approval. "You have done it. The second key is yours." Lily held both crystals close, their light mingling. 2 down, 1 to go. But even as she smiled, her heart trembled. For in that reflection she had seen not only her strength, but the possibility of her failure. And the forest was far from finished with her. The 2 crystals glowed brightly in Lily's hands, their light swirling together like moonlight and starlight entwined. She held them close, feeling their warmth spread through her chest. 2 trials completed. 2 keys found. 1 remained. Ember studied her with sharp golden eyes. "The forest has accepted you twice, but the 3rd trial, it is the hardest. Many who reach it do not return." Lily's throat tightened. "What makes it harder?" "The final key does not test fear or doubt," Ember said gravely. "It tests your heart, what you value most, what you are willing to sacrifice." A shiver ran down her spine. Sacrifice. The word echoed in her mind, heavy and foreboding. They walked on, deeper than ever into the enchanted forest. The path grew wilder, the trees twisted, their branches knotted together like clenched fists. The air thickened, heavy with unseen power. The whispers followed her, louder now, voices weaving together in fragments. "The last key. Beware. The cost." Lily clutched her crystals tighter. "It feels like the forest knows I'm coming." "It does," Ember said simply. The path opened into a valley shrouded in mist. At its center stood a ruined stone archway, broken and ancient, covered in vines. Beyond it, Lily could see nothing but darkness, as though the world itself ended there. Ember's fur bristled. "The Arch of Endings. The trial of the final key lies within." Lily's chest tightened. She stepped closer, then froze. From the mist beyond the arch, a figure emerged, cloaked in black, staff gleaming faintly. The stranger. Ember growled, teeth bared. "You again!" The figure lifted a hand in calm. "Peace, Golden One. I mean no harm." Lily's pulse quickened. "You said we'd meet again when the moon was full, by the waters that reflect the sky." The hood dipped slightly. "And so you did. You passed the Mirror Lake. You carry the second key." "Good," Ember snarled. "Leave us. You twist words and sow doubt." But Lily stepped forward, heart pounding. "Wait." You showed me a shard before. Was it real? Did you face the trials? The stranger's voice was calm, steady. Yes. I walked the path you walk now. I bore the crystals. But when the final trial came, I failed. And so I remain, bound to these woods, until another succeeds where I did not. Lily's eyes widened. Failed? What happened? The figure was silent for a long moment. Finally it said, "The last key demands a choice I could not make." Ember's fur bristled. Enough of your riddles. But Lily's voice trembled as she asked, "What kind of choice?" The stranger turned toward the archway, its shadowy face unreadable. "You will know soon, and when the moment comes, child, remember, not all sacrifices are noble, and not all who seem loyal can be trusted." The words struck Lily's heart like a blade. She turned to Ember, searching his golden eyes for reassurance. But for the first time, she saw something flicker there, something she couldn't quite name. Was it anger, fear, or something else? The stranger stepped back into the mist, fading until only its voice lingered. 3 keys, 1 secret, 1 choice. Then all was silent again. Lily hugged her crystals close, her chest heavy with dread. Ember. What did they mean? The fox's gaze was steady, but his voice was low. "Do not let their lies poison you. The forest is trial enough without shadows whispering in your ear." But Lily wasn't sure. Every step forward, every whisper in the trees, every warning from the heartwood, it all pressed on her like an invisible weight. The final trial lay ahead, and she feared it would demand more than she could give.
The arch of endings loomed before Lily, shrouded in mist and shadow. She held the 2 glowing crystals close, their light steady but trembling in her hands. Ember stood beside her, golden eyes fixed on the archway. "This is it," Lily whispered. "The last trial." Ember's tail flicked. "Remember, Lily, the forest tests not only your courage or your mind, it tests your heart. Be ready." Her throat tightened. "My heart. My sacrifice." The stranger's warning echoed in her mind. Not all sacrifices are noble, and not all who seem loyal can be trusted. Still, she stepped forward. The mist swallowed her whole as she crossed beneath the arch. For a moment she was blind, her world nothing but cold, swirling white. Then the fog cleared, and she stood in a vast clearing bathed in pale light. At its center rose a pedestal carved of stone, and on it rested the final crystal, larger than the others, glowing with a brilliance that lit the entire space. Lily's heart leapt. The 3rd key. But even as she stepped forward, the ground trembled. From the shadows around the pedestal, dark figures emerged, more solid than the whispers she had faced before, their forms sharp and menacing. They circled her slowly, eyes glowing red. Ember growled, stepping protectively in front of her. The guardians of the last key. The figures hissed, their voices like shards of glass. To take the final key, one must give what cannot be regained. Lily's stomach twisted. "What do you mean?" The figures parted, and the pedestal itself seemed to speak, its voice echoing like thunder. "The final key requires sacrifice. To claim it, you must give up what you hold most dear." Her breath caught. Most dear? She looked down at the crystals in her hands. Without them, she could not complete the journey. But could she really give them up? No, the test wasn't just about objects. It was about her heart. And then her gaze fell on Ember. The fox stood steady, his golden eyes meeting hers. For the first time, she saw the weight in them, the knowledge, the mystery, the loyalty. From the beginning, he had guided her, protected her, believed in her. Her chest ached. Could the forest be asking me to give him up? The stranger's words returned. Not all who seem loyal can be trusted. Lily's hands trembled. Ember, is this what they meant? That I have to sacrifice you? The fox held her gaze. The choice is yours, Lily. But I can't. Her voice cracked. You've been with me since the beginning. I wouldn't have made it this far without you. The shadows hissed, pressing closer. Choose, or be consumed. Tears stung her eyes. She clutched the crystals tight, her heart splitting in two. She thought of her father's voice in the hollow of shadows, warning her she wasn't enough. She thought of her reflection at the mirror lake, cold and heartless. She thought of the stranger's shard, proof of a path unfinished. And then she thought of Ember, how he had told her to think, not just fight. How he had reminded her that courage wasn't the absence of fear, but the strength to face it. Her tears spilled freely. If sacrifice is the test, then I choose. She raised the crystals high, her voice breaking but strong. I will not give up what I love, not Ember, not myself, not my hope. I choose to hold on.
The clearing shook. The shadows shrieked, writhing as if burned by her words. The light of the crystals flared, brighter than ever, merging into a single beam that struck the pedestal. The final crystal lifted into the air and floated gently into Lily's hands. The other two crystals joined it, their light weaving together until they became one radiant jewel. The shadows dissolved, leaving silence and peace. Lily sank to her knees, the jewel glowing against her chest. She had done it. She had faced the forest, its trials, its fears, and its sacrifices, and she had chosen love, not loss. Ember stepped to her side, his voice softer than she had ever heard it. You have done what many could not. You have passed the final trial. The jewel pulsed and the ground beneath the pedestal split open, revealing a hidden chamber. Inside lay a book, ancient and bound in silver. Its cover shimmered with the same light as the crystals. Lily's breath caught. The secret of the Enchanted Forest. She reached out and lifted the book. As she opened it, glowing symbols rose from the pages, filling the air with light. They weren't just words. They were stories. The stories of the forest, its beginnings, its magic, its guardians, its warnings. And among them, Lily saw her own story, her journey, her choices, her courage, woven into the tapestry of the forest itself. Tears blurred her vision. It was never just about the keys. It was about becoming part of the story. Ember's golden eyes glowed warmly. And now you are. The light faded, leaving Lily holding the silver-bound book and the single jewel. She stood taller now, her fear tempered by strength, her doubt softened by hope. The Enchanted Forest was no longer a mystery to her. It was a part of her. She smiled through her tears. I did it, Dad. I hope you'd be proud. Ember brushed against her side. He would. Lily has uncovered the secret of the Enchanted Forest, but every ending is also a beginning. Should her adventures continue? Comment below with your ideas for her next journey and make sure to subscribe so you'll never miss the next magical tale. The morning sun rose over the Enchanted Forest, its golden rays spilling across the trees. For the first time since she had stepped into this place, Lily felt no fear in its shadows. The whispers in the branches were no longer warnings. They were songs, welcoming her as one of their own. She sat on a mossy stone, the silver-bound book in her lap and the radiant jewel glowing faintly at her side. Ember lay nearby, his golden eyes half closed but alert, as always. Feels strange, Lily murmured. After everything, it's so quiet. Ember's ears twitched. The forest is at peace. It has accepted you. That peace is your reward. She traced her fingers over the shimmering symbols that still danced faintly on the book's cover. So many stories, so many lives before mine, and now, mine too. For a long while, she sat in silence, letting the forest's calm settle into her heart. But with peace came thought, and with thought, questions. What happens now? She asked softly. I came here searching for answers. I found the forest's secret. I passed its trials. But what do I do with it all? Ember opened his eyes and regarded her carefully. That is not for the forest to decide. It is for you. She looked out over the trees, their leaves glistening with dew. Somewhere beyond them lay her village, her father's cottage, her ordinary life. Could she return to it? now that she had carried light through shadow and woven her own story into the forests. Her heart tugged in two directions, toward home and toward the unknown. As if sensing her turmoil, Ember stood and stretched. The forest will always be here, Lily. Its stories will wait. But your story, your choices, they cannot wait. You must decide where to carry them. Lily smiled faintly, though her eyes stung with tears. You sound like you won't be coming with me. The fox tilted his head. Perhaps I will meet you again when the time is right. My place is to guide, not to bind. Her chest ached, but she nodded. Then, thank you, Ember, for everything. He brushed against her leg, warm and steady. Thank yourself. You walked the path. You faced the trials. You chose your heart. A breeze stirred the trees, carrying with it a whisper, soft but clear. Every ending is a beginning, every secret, a new story. Lily closed the book gently and rose to her feet. She looked once more at the forest, its beauty, its mystery, its endless promise. I'll come back, she whispered. Someday. There's more here, I can feel it. The jewel pulsed faintly in her hand as though agreeing. With one last look at Ember, she turned toward the path that would lead her home. The morning sun bathed her in light, and the forest song followed her steps. Her journey through the enchanted forest had ended, but her adventure had only just begun. Thank you for journeying through the enchanted forest with Lily. Would you like to see her continue her adventures beyond the forest? Share your thoughts in the comments and don't forget to subscribe for more magical stories.